Here's your sin to avoid. Speak highly of God. That's what you should do. So let's avoid using the name of the Lord in vain. So when we think of the third commandment, that you shall not use the name of the Lord your God in vain, we want to be thinking of that not just in the swear word format that I think most people would think of, but also to think of reverently thinking of God and reverently speaking to God. So we need to speak highly of God, and let's avoid just frivolously talking about God and thinking about God. Let's pray passionately. Let's pray with our minds focused on the Lord. Let's speak well of Him and honor Him with our speech. So we do not want to use the name of the Lord our God in vain. If you remember, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5 or chapter 6, all the way through 25, is expositing or explaining the Ten Commandments. Last week or yesterday, we talked about the second commandment. In chapter 13 is picking up the second commandment: you shall not make any graven image, no idols, and also beginning to talk about using God's name in vain and how we should not do that with a third commandment. So I'm going to focus on the third, but you'll see as you read 13, it's talking about idols as well, because how the people are speaking about God is that they are tempting, they're not speaking highly of God, and therefore tempting people or enticing people to be drawn away from God. So we look at verse 1. If a prophet or a dreamer of dream arises among you and gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder that he tells you comes to pass. So we're saying this prophet is going to do some sort of wonderful sign, and it's actually going to happen. But if accompanying that great sign, they say, let us go after other gods which you have not known, and let us serve them, then you do not listen to them. You shall not listen to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. Don't care what they're doing. Don't care how magnificent the miracle is. If they're telling you to worship another God, then you need to get out of there fast. So you see right here, they are not speaking well of God. They are degrading God. They're using God's name in vain, empty, saying He's not worthy of worship, and then they're tempting them to go after idols. Second commandment. So you see a melding of the second and the third. Notice the penalty is they shall be put to death. This is a serious thing to bring people away from God. In fact, right today, if we're doing that today and we entice people to go away from Jesus Christ, you are in effectively sentencing them to an eternity of hell, in hell, if you're trying to persuade them not to trust in Jesus Christ, not to trust in the Lord of Lords. Here's another one, verse 6, where we're told that if your friend who is as your own soul, you're really close together, if they entice you secretly saying, let us go and serve other gods, then you need to get out of town. You need to not yield to them, as verse 8 says, or listen to them, nor shall your eye pity him, nor shall you spare him, nor shall you conceal him. Get out of there. Let's make sure we are not uh, taking the Lord's name in vain by not honoring him and talking about how he deserves every bit of affection that we have. And notice again, the penalty for such a sin is death in the old covenant. Death for those that are part of Israel that are trying to tempt people to go away from the Lord. Not only is it death, but it's death by stoning. And we see verse 12, that if there's worthless fellows, so we've seen this just great prophet, preacher man that's doing these miracles and telling you to worship another God, you don't need to do it. And even if it's your best friend that's telling you to go away from God and not follow him, you don't need to listen to him. And even if the worthless fellows do it and they draw you away, and they have drawn away the inhabitants of their city, saying, let us go and serve other gods. Again, not honoring the name of the Lord, taking the name of the Lord our God in vain by not pushing people and pointing people to Christ. Then you shall not listen to him. In fact, you shall put the inhabitants of that city to the sword. Again, under the old covenant in Israel, the punishment would be death. I pray that has been a blessing to you, and I pray that you'll think, okay, we need to honor the Lord. That's how we fulfill the third commandment is by not taking his name in vain, by making sure that we are honoring him and pushing people toward him, rather than in the way that we live or the way that we speak, somehow dishonoring God and pushing people away from God. I'll see you all in the next video.